Greetings, community. I cannot believe we are on episode 19. Man, it's so crazy when you begin a journey, right? And it looks like, how am I going to do this? Especially if it's a journey, you're beginning a journey or you're embarking on something that you've never done before and that makes you a little afraid, right? And you're like, how am I going to do this? And then you get towards the end and you look back and you're like, man, how did I do that? Or I did that. I give thanks to the ancestors for giving me the strength and the reminder that I am on the path that I'm supposed to be on, a path of healing, a path of liberation that not only benefits me, but benefits those who came before me and those who are coming after me. So I give thanks for that. So yes, episode 19, the sun energy. I don't know about you, but it has been much work that I've had to put in. Growth work, healing work, to get to a place where I feel comfortable letting my light fully shine, taking up my entire space, and learning how to be comfortable with the uncomfortability of being seen. So that's what we're going to get into today, the sun energy. So I want to thank those who have been supporting me, whether through the Substack or through YouTube. I want to say thank you to the Rooted Soul community who have been on this collective healing journey with me. I firmly believe it is time, it is our time as people of color, Black, brown, indigenous, the indigenous people of this globe, to reconnect to our indigenous ways, to reconvene in honoring our ancestors, returning back to ancient practices that have been tried and true, because it definitely is a pathway to our liberation, to our healing, to our power. So I want to thank you again to the Rooted Soul community for embarking on this journey with me. So in the last episode, we talked about the moon, which is the divine feminine energy. And in today's episode, we are going to talk about the sun energy, which is the divine masculine energy. And as we know, the sun and the moon move in rotation together because balance and harmony comes from balance and harmony of the divine feminine and the divine masculine within you and within nature. And so I titled this podcast episode A Soul's Journey to Healing, because I think that coming into full inner and overstanding and coming into radical acceptance and unconditional love and non-judgment into who you are is a soul's journey to healing. And it is a journey into embracing your divine masculine. So when I think about the sun's energy and I think about the sun's energy playing out within us, it makes me think about being seen and taking up space. So how are you? Like, how comfortable are you with being seen? Do you take up your space in a place with people in your life? Or is it something that is a work in progress for you? I know for me, it was a big portion of my healing journey, learning how to be comfortable in taking up my space and being seen. And what I mean by being seen, I mean that we are all individually unique, right? Like we all have something that is uniquely us. We were not created to be in uniformity. We were created to be in community. And so that is a coming together of differences, right? Of multiple varieties. And sometimes that can feel uncomfortable to step out in your full authentic self, because it should be noticeable that you are different. And then as a community, a healthy community knows how to embrace that and accept that. But we are a work in progress as a community for that. And then on top of that, we, the global majority, are constantly having to refute and reframe narratives that are placed on us that diminish and belittle our try to squeeze us out of spaces and places of being seen. Our tries to act like who we are is not acceptable, and that we should conform to this Eurocentric way. And so it is a journey for us into embracing our full selves. And so that's what I mean by being seen. Like, how comfortable are you with being seen? I know, like I said, for me, it's taken me some time to feel comfortable to walk into a space, take up the full space of my space, nobody else's space. I'm talking about my space, right? And be seen. And then feel fully accepted, me accepting myself, right? Radically accepting myself and unconditionally loving myself for how I show up. And when we do that, we naturally begin to attract those with like-mindedness. Now, I mean, we will attract some energy vampires too, who are like, oh, I see that energy and I want it for myself. And we do need to be mindful of that and know how to, create some boundaries around that and cleanse ourselves from that, right? But we will also attract like-mindedness and individuals who are on that same journey, and thus is how we can create this healthy, balanced, and harmonized community. So the fruits of the sun energy, right, is being seen and taking up space. The sun energy is about being in balance and harmony with a healthy ego. And I know for me, growing up in a religious home, I was taught a distorted view on an ego, like that, more so that we are not supposed to have an ego, to be aware, almost like the ego is something dangerous. And coming out of Christianity and returning back to my indigenous spirituality practices, and just understanding inner and overstanding and learning more about who I am, who we are as a people, the things that our ancestors used to teach us, right? That the ego is very important. It's very much connected to our soul. And so it's not so much about not having an ego, but it's about having a healthy ego. And unfortunately, we live among what I'm calling malignant egos. White narcissism is another word that that has been used. I can't remember her name, who coined that. But malignant egos are rampant around us and have created so much noise and has drained up so much of the energy of the focus of that type of ego. But that's not what I'm talking about when when I talk about the ego. I'm talking about a healthy ego, and a healthy ego will naturally shine bright in the spaces you show up in and the people you come in contact with. A healthy ego, it eludes healing properties that just fall off of your aura and become a gift to those around you. And so in today's topic, we are going to dive a little deeper into discussing the sun energy. We'll talk about the differences between a healthy versus an unhealthy ego. We're also going to talk about the solar plexus and its relationship to the ego, and then go over some healing tools to support you on your healing journey with building a healthy ego. And I won't dive too deep, but when we go into talking about a healthy ego versus an unhealthy ego, I think it would be important for this topic to also just briefly overview the tropical and sidereal sun signs, because our sun sign is how we interact in this human body, right? In this avatar with the sun energy. Like that's that is the, our rising too. And I'll briefly or talk a little bit about that too. But our sun sign is how we present ourselves, right? It's how we shine through that energy. So we'll briefly go over that too when we talk about a healthy versus an unhealthy ego. So healthy pride versus sensitive ego. And I purposely wanted to use the word pride because it's a word that I think needs to be reclaimed. It's a word that, again, tends to be tied more to malignant egos, when pride is something, when it is in balance and harmony with the universe, divine force, it is something very powerful and something very valuable to possess. And so healthy pride versus a sensitive ego. And so when we have healthy pride, we have this confidence in self that eludes off of us. Like, oftentimes when you have this confidence in self, you may sometimes notice when you walk into a room, you get people staring at you. And sometimes that could be a little uncomfortable because you're like, why are people staring at me? But it's this aura when you walked into the room, like your sun rays, right? The rays of the sun, like you walked in full sunlight. And then those rays, like, of energy, like, caught people, and it's what causes them to look. And so, like, you walk in this confidence in self, not in confidence that is false, meaning that it's a confidence in full self, meaning my weaknesses and my strengths, my flaws and all. Like, I accept all of me. I'm sure of who I am, and sure of who I am not. And that's that confidence in self. It's knowing self from a place of unconditional love and radical acceptance. Healthy pride, a healthy ego is able to trust in the choices that they make, because they move in harmony with trusting their gut. And the solar plexus is the seat of our ego. And if you recall in the last episode, I talked about feelings, and I talked about the personal feelings, like the lower feelings, not that there's a hierarchy with lower and higher, but just the ones that the first feelings we get when we're having this, like, a human experience, is through the sacral chakra, right? And so then it has to move through the solar plexus to get to the heart chakra, which is where we're able to reason our work with our intuition, right? To get a better understanding, our holistic, probably is the better word, holistic understanding of whatever it is that we are experiencing. And so then we're able to move in wisdom. So if that's when that solar plexus is open and clear, and healthy, and when there's a healthy ego, you're able to not take things personal, right? Like, because you know that everything that happens, an encounter that you have with anybody is not about you. It's about them and whatever it is going on with them, good or bad. What is about you is how you respond to it. And then that's something that comes back to this radical acceptance and unconditional love that you have for yourself. Because if something happens and you notice that it rubbed you the wrong way, so then that requires some time to give yourself some time and space with why did that evoke that in me, or why did I respond that way, or why did that bother me? Like, to explore that from a place of curiosity within yourself. And then when you come to whatever awareness you do, like embracing it from a place of not judging yourself, and from a place of radically accepting yourself and unconditionally loving yourself, because we all have a story. All of us come from stories, and those stories impact how we move and maneuver through life. And so when we do that, when we work through this healing process with that, then we learn how to not take things personal. A healthy ego knows how to not take things personal. And because of that, you're able to move through the channels, which brings us to a sensitive ego, our unbalanced ego. It's not able to move through the channels because it gets stuck in the solar plexus area. So like I was saying, unbalanced ego, a sensitive ego, because everything is taken so personally, things get stuck in that solar plexus area, right? And because of that, some trace that you may notice in yourself is that you're easily offended, like everything, and when I say sensitive, I don't mean in a way like, I don't know if you've heard of the term highly sensitive person. I'm not talking about that, which is something like some people are highly sensitive people. I'm a highly sensitive person, which means I have a very sensitive nervous system. So I pick up on energy really quickly, and can be sensitive to light and sounds and things of that nature. And so I'm not talking about that when I say sensitive or easily offended. I mean where everything is just taken personally. And so because of that, you find yourself always upset because you just think everything is being done towards you, which can lead to some narcissistic traits, right? Like, depending on how unbalanced you are, how unhealthy your ego is, like if it's become malignant, then those narcissistic traits are even greater. Hence, some of the people that we see often on world stages, like presidents and world leaders, like they have malignant egos. And so their narcissistic traits are just screaming out so loud, right? And also when this area, the solar plexus area, is unbalanced, it's the seat of your ego, then oftentimes there are digestive issues, like where there's constipation, where there's difficulty in you processing food. You oftentimes are drawn to more lower vibrational foods as well. And then that creates this cycle. You are not able to hear your gut speaking to you. And so there's the choices are being made from a place that are personal feelings, right? Like that have not had the opportunity, like I was saying before with the sacral chakra feelings, right? Like they haven't been able to move up the channels so that you can process those feelings from a place of harmony and balance. And then from that produces wisdom. Like that's not able to happen. So you're making all these choices and decisions from like this wounded ego type of thing. So those are some of the traits of an unhealthy or unbalanced ego. So when we talk about a healing journey, right? When we talk about the healing journey, well, before I go into the healing, I don't know. Yeah, I think I want to go into the healing journey tools from this, and then it may seem out of place, but then we'll go into the, like I said, I want to do just a brief overview of the sun energies of our signs, our sun energy signs, which we possess all of them within us, but we come here packaged in one, right? So anyway, so the healing journey tools, like to when you find that your ego is wounded or unhealthy, right, or unbalanced, right, like opening up to the solar plexus energy to reach your higher self processing, right? That heart chakra, that third eye, that your ori, like your crown, like that's the healing journey, right? To get to that. And so some things that you can do to help to open up the solar plexus energy channel is things like incorporating coconut water into your diet. Coconut water is like the way that I learned about coconut water. I love the way the person said was like, it's like it's like giving the inside of your body a shower, like cleansing it, like it's getting rinsed off. So coconut water can be very beneficial, like drinking it in the morning before you put anything on your stomach, and then just giving some time for that. Now, depending on how stopped up, blocked, how much blockage you have, may require multiple, to be patient with this process, and may require multiple times, but coconut water is a good cleanser. Aloe vera juice is another one. After you eat, to do like a shot of aloe vera juice. Walking, in the morning or walking in the evening after you eat. Journaling your feelings. Trauma wounds, like a lot of us, people of color, Black people, brown people, indigenous people of this globe, like we have a lot of trauma wounds. And so therapy can be very beneficial in sorting these things out. Particularly, I would suggest working with a person of color therapist who can understand this historical part to our trauma wounds, to our ego wounds, right? So working with a therapist to help work through that. Somatic practices, mindfulness practices can be very beneficial, like yin yoga, restorative yoga. These are things that can be very beneficial in helping to unblock, reopen, begin to heal that solar plexus area, begin to heal your ego and restore it back to its divine masculine energy self. So I'm going to go over our tropical and sidereal sun sign energies. And like I said, I'm just going to go over them briefly. When I say sidereal, so the tropical one is the one that we all know, right? Like it's the one that's more popular on the Western hemisphere. But on the Eastern hemisphere, there's also the sidereal. And the sidereal is literally what it means, the side. And so like if your sun sign is Aries, then your sidereal sign would be the sign right before it. And if you were to look like at an astrological chart, you will see like we're never like, depending on the angle, right? Angle meaning, I'm sorry, well, angle meaning the degree, depending on the degree of when you were born in that sign, in that sun sign, also will determine the degree of the one before it. But it's like we're never really fully in something because things are always in movement, right? So for an example, if you are in Aries, right? So then your sidereal sign would be Pisces. So that's how but you can also, some of these, astrology websites, if you know your time of birth and location of birth, you can put all the information in and you can learn more about your sidereal and corresponding it, or what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but basically like being able to look at it and then look at your tropical as well, because it's the same for your moon sign and your rising sign, all your Mercury sign, etc., etc. And so I'm just going to briefly go over the sun signs. And now that you know what a sidereal sign is, like you can know how, from what your sun sign is, your tropical one, right? The one that most of us always know. Now you can know your sidereal, and then you use that information to know like how sun energy is working within your body. But I also want to say, before I go through them as well, is that we possess all of this within us. All of these energies are within us. Our healing journey and returning back to our indigenous practices these are the things that we were learning from our ancestors long ago, right? How these what these different energies are, how they function, and then how to use them within you to be in harmony and balance with the universe, with community, etc., etc. So just keeping that in mind, we possess all of them, but the ones that we come here born in, we have a closer relationship with, and can be the first ones that we can begin to learn how to utilize. So let's get into the sun signs. So Aries, the sacred flame starter. Aries carries the fire of new beginnings. This is the energy of the warrior, the initiator. And the next one is Taurus, the earth keeper. Again, I'm just doing a really quick overview of them. Maybe after I finish this series, which I'm almost done with. Yay, we're almost done with it. Maybe we can dive a little more deeper into each one of these. You can let me know if that's something you're interested in the comment section. But so the next one is Taurus, the earth keeper. Taurus is the sacred body, the temple of pleasure and grounding. It's guided by Oshun, the Orisha of love, beauty, and sweet waters. Gemini is the sacred messenger. Gemini is the bridge between worlds, the voice of truth and duality, the guardian of crossroads and communication. Cancer, the ancestral womb. Cancer is the great nurturer, the keeper of memory and emotions, mother of the oceans. It's guided by Yemaya. Leo, the solar royalty. Leo is the radiant sun embodied, divine leadership and expression. Virgo, the sacred healer. Virgo is the purifier, the one who restores balance through devotion. Virgo, the sacred healer, is an energy of wisdom and clarity. And I don't know if I said for Leo is an energy of power, personal power. Libra, the harmonizer. Libra is the keeper of balance, harmony in relationships and within. And Libra also is touched by the sweetness of Oshun. Scorpio, the sacred transformer. Scorpio walks through shadow into rebirth, guided by Oya, the storm, the winds of change and transformation. Sagittarius, the spiritual seeker. Sagittarius is the truth seeker, the traveler between realms, the keeper of wisdom and destiny. Sagittariuses are blessed with great fortune. Like fortune just follows them. So it's an energy that needs to be handled with care and with that wisdom. Capricorn, the sacred builder. Capricorn is legacy, discipline, and sacred structure. Energy of endurance. Aquarius, the visionary liberator. Aquarius brings change, innovation, and collective awakening. Aquarius is also moved by the winds of Oya. Pisces, the mystic dreamer. Pisces is the deep ocean, intuition, divine connection. Pisces is guided by Yemaya and Okun. And I don't know if you remember in my previous episode, I talked about Yemaya and Okun being the divine, Yemaya being the divine feminine, Okun being the divine masculine. Yemaya is the ocean, Okun is the bottom floor of the ocean. And so Pisces, the mystic dreamer, the energy of the mysteries of the deep. So those are the sun energies. And remember, as I was sharing with you, your sidereal, whatever your sun sign is, your sidereal will be the zodiac sign right before that one. And so I would encourage you, if you haven't already done so, like to spend more time like learning about how this energy works within you, right? I would love to hear from some of you, like, what is your sun sign? Drop it in the comments section. I'm a Virgo, a proud Virgo sun sign. So then that means my sidereal is Leo. So yeah, like, because your sun energy, like I said, is how your sun shines. And how your sun shines, right, is a lot about how you should set up your life. When you think about your life, like you are the sun, you should be the center, right? And then from that, like who do you have around you? Do you have energies around you that are bringing clouds, right? Do you have energies around you where you are not the center? Like these are things that you can explore and be curious about, like, so that your personal ecosystem is in order, balance, and harmony. So for this episode, I always close with an affirmation. And in my previous one, I also shared some poetry that I wrote around divine feminine energy in the moon. And I also have a poem that I wrote for divine masculine energy. But so for those of you on Substack who are listening to this on Substack will see the actual poem and also see the affirmations, because I thought it would be nice to give share an affirmation that can be used for each sun energy, each zodiac sign. And so on Substack, you'll see that. But here I'm just going to say them. And each affirmation, so as I say each affirmation, I'm saying them in order, meaning I'm starting with Aries and then ending with Pisces. So that will be the order of maybe I guess I can say Aries and then say the affirmation, and I'll say Taurus, etc., and then say the affirmation, etc., etc. And then that way, if you needed to rewind back, like, you'll know. So, Aries, the affirmation is, I move boldly. My path is divinely cleared. Taurus, affirmation, I am worthy of pleasure, peace, and abundance. Gemini, affirmation, my voice carries truth and opens pathways. Cancer, affirmation, I am held, nurtured, and guided by my ancestors. Leo, affirmation, I shine unapologetically. My presence is power. Virgo, affirmation, I am aligned with divine order and sacred clarity. Libra, affirmation, I create harmony within and around me. Scorpio, affirmation, I release, transform, and rise renewed. Sagittarius, affirmation, I walk in truth and trust my divine path. Capricorn, affirmation, I build with purpose. My work is sacred. Aquarius, affirmation, I am a channel for divine change and freedom. And then finally, Pisces, affirmation, I trust the flow of spirit. I am divinely guided. What a beautiful way also. So in closing, the sun is your divine spark within you. And however the makeup of energy, right, is within you reflects a sacred expression of that light. And when we are aligned and in balance and harmony, right, and the energy channels are open and flowing, we embody it. Our purpose with clarity, power, and ancestral support. The sun energy. I want to thank you again for taking time out to listen to this podcast. I can't say thank you enough to the Rooted Soul community who follows me on Substack or here on YouTube. We are a collective on a healing journey, and community is so important to that. So thank you. So remember, Rooted Soul, stay rooted in your soul. Ashe till next time.